This is the Fanatec CSL Steering Wheel GT3, and it's Fanatec's newest sim racing wheel. Sorta. You see, Fanatec's McLaren license ran out, and as such, their highly popular McLaren GT3 wheel could no longer be sold new. Now, taking into account how massively popular this wheel is, however, and how generally liked it is as a budget option, Fanatec, instead of discontinuing it, simply removed the McLaren logo, changed the orange accents to black, added this minimal design to the front plate, and suddenly, just like that, we have the CSL Steering Wheel GT3. So today I'll be reviewing this wheel, telling you all what I do and what I do not like, but more importantly, I'll also talk about why this new Fanatec wheel low-key makes me a little worried. Before we begin though, this video has been sponsored by Project Motor Racing. Coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and S as well as PC, Project Motor Racing is blending 20 years worth of racing simulator know-how into one unforgettable racing experience. Now officially hitting the shelves on November 25th of this year, this new sim is offering over 70 iconic cars among 13 distinct racing classes. What's more is that you can compete on 28 scan tracks around the world in both a single-player career mode or online racing against others. Now in the career mode, you'll live the life of a professional racing driver, managing budgets, securing sponsorships, and buying your own cars with no scripted rivalries or generic cutscenes. Project Motor Racing is also bringing a new physics engine, delivering top-notch realism, all tested and approved by hundreds of top racing drivers. So if you're interested, make sure to pick this game up at all major retail stores like Amazon, Walmart, Target, GameStop, and Best Buy, and thank you to Project Motor Racing for sponsoring this video. So driving around with the new Fanatec CSL GT3 wheel, well, it's a very familiar experience because, like I already said, this is essentially the exact same wheel with only a few differences. The differences will unfortunately only be cosmetic, and even then, still relatively subtle. As a result, it's very clear that Fanatec is taking the "if it's not broken, don't fix it" approach, and you can't really fault them too much for that. Ultimately, the McLaren GT3 wheel was one of the most popular affordable sim racing wheels in the market, and that's ultimately because it does everything that it needs to do, and it does it pretty well without too many extra bells and whistles. At 300mm in diameter, this is a proper, realistically sized wheel with comfortable rubber molded grips, a fake but decent looking carbon weave, and solid functionality. Now priced at $230, it comes with Xbox and PC compatibility and can also be used on PlayStation with a compatible Fanatec wheelbase. Now additional button caps are included, giving you some customization options, and with regards to the buttons, you're getting 9 of those along with 2 multi-position switches, 2 two-way toggle switches, and a small OLED display. On this display, you can see some telemetry, for example your speed and your gear, but here you can also make on-the-fly changes to your force feedback, this being especially useful when on console where you don't have access to the Fanatec software like you would on PC. Now on the back, the QR2 Lite quick release is included, and although it doesn't look the best, it can be used on even Fanatec's most powerful 25mm bases. Also back here, you'll see the rocker paddle shifters that allow you to up and down shift with the same hand, as well as clutch paddles underneath. Now both of these in my opinion feel good, with the rocker paddles being useful at times and surprisingly quiet. However, this is one of the most heavily criticized parts of this wheel, as many have complained about their lack of a tactile feel. On hand and pushing it to its limits, like I've said before, this is just simply a very solid wheel. It feels very comfortable, it's ergonomics, all of the buttons and dials are at close reach, and in my personal opinion, although I do think that having the McLaren branding is just ultimately cooler, I think that Fanatec still did an absolutely amazing job at changing the design of the steering wheel into a more generic Fanatec branding without making this wheel look bad, tacky, or boring. Honestly, I think they knocked it out of the park with this simple, modern, and minimalistic design, despite it, again, still not being quite as cool as it once was. So out on track, this wheel performs surprisingly good for the money. Even with higher end wheelbases, it doesn't bulge or flex, and the thick rubber grips give me a lot of confidence and comfort even in longer stints. Another underrated aspect of this wheel is its weight. At just under 3 pounds or exactly 1.29 kilograms, it means that even less powerful direct drive wheelbases like this 5mm CSL GT3 can handle it with ease and without the weight of the wheel causing any loss in the force feedback quality. Now, as I've alluded to in this review, there really isn't too much to complain about with this wheel. I mean, it is fundamentally just a good starter wheel. However, one thing that I just don't understand is why Fanatec has removed the sticker sheet that used to come with this wheel. You see, originally the McLaren GT3 wheel came with a little sticker sheet for you to label all of the buttons, and on top of that, it also came with a Fanatec sticker, which almost everybody also placed on the top of the wheel. And I don't know, I feel like 3 years ago when I first had the McLaren GT3 wheel, I was super excited about placing the stickers on the button and putting the Fanatec logo up here, and that's something that Fanatec has stripped away from this wheel for no apparent reason. And then honestly, the biggest gripe that I have isn't necessarily with this wheel, but rather with Fanatec. You see, it's been several years since this product has been in the market, and honestly, it is a downgrade going from the McLaren licensing and the McLaren branding to just being a generic Fanatec product. And worst of all, there is literally no fundamental change with this wheel. I mean, losing the McLaren licensing is fine. I mean, that can't last forever. But you're telling me that after so many years, they weren't able to make any improvements on this wheel to at least release kind of like a V3 version of it. And I mean, it's not like this is a pinpoint perfect wheel. There are things that could have been improved. They could have upgraded the paddle shifters to make them more tactile and clicky, as this is one of the biggest complaints of this wheel. They could have added some more functionality to this wheel, like maybe some thumb encoders. But more than that, they really should have just released a brand new GT3 wheel, as Fanatec simply has not been innovating or releasing as many new products as all of the competitors have. So just the fact that they had the opportunity to completely redesign their GT3 wheel, but they just chose to make it exactly the same with only some cosmetic differences is disappointing, despite this wheel, again, still being good. From Fanatec's perspective, I can see the "if it's not broken, don't fix it" ideology, but the fact is that they still could have fixed some aspects of this wheel, or they could have just brought a ton more hype by releasing a completely new GT3 wheel, but no, instead we're getting the exact same thing so many years later, if anything downgraded, as the McLaren branding isn't here anymore. So yeah, I don't know, I feel like that is just a little bit disappointing. So overall, and to put it very simply, the Fanatec CSL GT3 wheel is a good wheel, and I'm not disappointed in the wheel itself. However, I am a bit disappointed in Fanatec, as I feel as though they took the extremely easy way out. You see, they had the chance to give us something new and exciting. A new, affordable GT3 wheel, something fresh after so many years, and something more normal than the recent alien spaceship Porsche wheel. But instead, no, we got the same thing, essentially downgraded and with quite literally zero improvements. You see, I, like many others are, am simply worried about the lack of innovation going on at Fanatec, especially when looking at what all of their competitors are doing, and I feel as though this rebranded GT3 wheel is simply a perfect example of that.